Chapter 1, Lesson 4, Multiplying Integers. You can see when we enlarge this, our new standard up here goes along with the chapter, but now we're on 7NS2, where again, we're going to work on this one right here, multiplying rational numbers, and you can see down below, again, using real-world problems and the 4 operations to solve word problems, basically. Now, today when we talk about it, we're just going to talk about multiplying, and we're familiar with this. If they have the same sign, they're always positive. Like here. The first one, you guys have been multiplying like that for a long time. We've been doing mad minutes usually with Mr. Walls to help speed up those times tables. So 5 times 6 gets us 30. However long it takes for you to get there is fine. But since you've been doing this for so long, you know that when you take 2 positive numbers, your answer is positive. When you slide to the right, though, we've got that parenthesis. Remember, the -5 and the parenthesis are touching, which means they're timesing. So please, in your notes, put a little dot time sign there to remind yourself that, and then take that 5 times 3, which gives you 15. And because they're both negative, since they have the same sign, your answer will be positive. It can be a little tricky to understand, and a visual representation of that can also be a little confusing. So on the next slide, I'll really explain why different ones are negative. But again, here, there's those 2 parentheses. What's happening between them since they are touching? They're timesing. Please put a multiplication dot or an X between them, and then take 8 times 7. If you have to go off to the side today and count 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Aha! There's what 7 times 8 is. You can do that. It's going to take a little bit for some of these with the 7s or 8s or 9s and whatnot. So we'll multiply them on out, however long it takes you to get there, get that correct answer, multiply carefully. And again, because they have the same sign, since they're both negative, your answer is going to be a positive 56. One more time, that 5 is touching. Please put a time sign in there, a multiplying symbol. And now 5 times 5. They have the same sign, so we've been very familiar with that comes out to be 25. Please remember on your assignment, don't make the 25 magically appear. Write out the original problem and the answer. Now it's here when we turn to the next slide. So we have different signs. So we're going to always ask ourselves this question: do they have the same sign? If we answer no, then the type of number that we need is a negative. Here's what we mean when you look at the examples. Once again, because it's our notes, please put that time sign between the 9 and the parentheses. You can use the 7 trick, or the 9 trick rather, if you want to see that. I can show that to you in class, but 7 times 9 gives you a 63. And in class, you'd hear me say it this way: do the 9 and the -7 have the same sign? So again, I'm just asking this question up here. Do they have the same sign? No. So since they're not the same sign, what type of number do we need? We need a -63. An example of that right here, when you look at it. If for 9 days you are going to borrow $7 from me each day, so you borrow $7, and then you borrow another 7, and another 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. If you borrow $7, that's a -7. 9 days in a row, you owe me money still. Owing Mr. Walls is a negative thing. Thus, 9 times a -7 is -63. The previous lesson, if you go back there and remember, one of your assignment problems that I normally give on the review portion, those last 4 problems, said, what's a -6 plus a -6? No, you don't need to write this on in. Just take a look at it. Plus a -6, plus a -6, plus a -6, plus a -6. When you add up all of those, a -6 plus -6 plus -6, it gives you a -36 because you have borrowed, you have 6 -6s. You have borrowed $6 from me 6 days in a row. Then when you come back up here, you can take a look. Do the -6 and the +6 have the same sign? When you say no, that means we need a negative number. That's why it's negative. 12 times 2 gives you 24. Do they have the same sign? Nope. So make it negative. Couple more examples. Oh no, what if there are more than 2 numbers? That's all right. If there are more than 2, you take them 2 at a time. Say 2, That's what we say in class. So make sure you take them two at a time. Again, I'm going to show my work like this so you can see that I'm taking the 10 times the 6 to get 60. Do they have the same sign? Yes, they do. So it gives me a positive 60 times 0. Oh, well, if you saw that 0 right away, you could have just put up there 0 because anything times 0 gives you 0. If not, show me the work and tell me your answer is 0. That's fine. Let's look over here. Aha! Is there any zeros here? Oh, no. So we're going to have to take them two at a time. So take the 7 times 5. It gives you 35. Do they have the same sign? No, they do not. Makes it a negative 35 times a negative 4. Now, at some point in time, we will probably have to come off to the side and we'll have to do math the long way, or do long math, multiply them over here on the side. So again, when we do that, you take the 5 times the 4, which gives you 20, carry the 2, and then from there, that's where you're going to take the 4 times the 3, which gives you 12, add the 2 to get the 14, carry the 1. Aha! So our answer is 140, but come back here and ask ourselves, do these two numbers, always take them two at a time, do these two numbers have the same sign? Since they do, when you say yes, it's a positive. If you say no, they do not have the same sign, what type of number do we need? We need a negative number. Again, we're doing that because you can see right here, we want to be able to multiply. The standard says rational numbers, so that's positive and negative fractions, decimals, and whole numbers. But right now, we're just going to be working right here with these integers and being able to understand for multiplying, and tomorrow, or sorry, the next lesson, dividing. So as we keep going here, now it says using exponents. Remember, when we use exponents, they're the tiny little numbers. So up here, we've got that 2. So I want you to put down 2 blank lines, and you can put a times sign in between them, whether you want to use the dot, you want to use an X, put the blank sign in between them, and then what number is inside of the parenthesis? Since it's inside the parenthesis, and the 2 is attached to the outside of the parenthesis, that's what we need. We need a negative 8 times a negative 8. Again, 8 times 8 is 64. Do they have the same sign? They do. So your answer is a positive 64. Notice this next one, there are no parentheses. So the squared, this 2 tells us we need two numbers, but it's attached directly and only to the 9. So we need 9 times 9. Because what you actually see up here, I invite you to write above it here, you're actually seeing 9 squared, and that's like in parentheses, and then that dash is on the outside. This guy is not actually read as a negative. He's read as the opposite of 9 squared. So what is 9 squared? Back down here, what is 9 times 9? 9 times 9 is 81. What is the opposite of 81? What is the opposite of a positive 81? A negative 81. Needs to be that. Come back up here. Here's your exponent. It's a 3. So we need to have 3 of these. Don't take 5 times, can't see that. There's that exponent 3. Don't tell me that negative 5 to the third is 15, a common mistake. We're not taking it times 3. We need 3 of the numbers inside the parentheses. Again, since the 3 is attached to the parenthesis, write down what's in the parenthesis 3 times. Take them 2 at a time. 5 times 5 is 25. Do these two negative 5s have the same sign? Yes, they do. So then we're going to leave it as a positive 25. And now here again, if you need to go off to the side and you need to be doing some math over here, 25 times 5, by all means, at some point in time, we'll all have to do that probably on today's assignment. Or I like this. I like the 25 because it makes me think of money. It's 25 cents. It's a quarter. How much money do you have if you have 5 quarters? Counting it up or multiplying it out, $1.25, or 5 times 25 is 125. And then coming back here, do they have the same sign? No. I mean, it's a negative number. On your assignment, don't just make that magically appear. You need to write out that original problem. I would like to see this rewritten, but then I need to see some sort of work. So if you're just going to multiply one number and get that 25, that's fine. You can do that. And if you're doing mental math, great. And you can get down to your answer. Awesome. Put that answer in. If you need to show some of this other work over here, if you need to be showing this long division, long multiplication, write that on in as well, off to the side or underneath, wherever we need to fit. A football jersey is marked down $10 each week for 3 weeks. Find the total change in price of the football jersey. Just like any quiz or test or worksheet in front of you, you're welcome to cross out or circle up or highlight anything on the paper. So again, I invite you to do that here where it says it's being marked down $10 each week. Circle that up if nothing else, so you can see that that's important information. What integer represents being marked down $10 each week? What type of number do you write for going down $10? Positive or negative? A negative 10. And now that's happening each week. So it's happening multiple times. It's happening repeatedly or over and over and over again. So that's how we know we need to multiply. And then how many weeks does this happen for? 3 weeks. So we can quickly take it and multiply it. 10 times 3 is 30. Do they have the same sign? No, means it's a negative 30. Or again, you can think to yourself, week 1 was a negative 10. Then the next week, another negative 10. And then another negative 10. And when you add up 3 negative 10s, it gets you negative 30. That's why when we have different signs, our final answer will be negative. Do note, though, could you please do me a little favor here? Could you put a little squiggly mark here underneath the word price? It didn't ask for an integer. If it did, we want negative 30. But it said find the total change in price. So what was the change in price? It went down $30, or the change in price was a negative $30. So that's the final answer. Please remember again, on word problems, I need to see just the work and the answer. Even though you can take 10 times 3 or negative 10 times 3 mentally in your head, write it down. I need to see the work. We're doing that again because we want to be able to multiply rational numbers, and you can see down here we also have solving real-world problems using the 4 operations, aka solving word problems. Today we want to be able to say that I can multiply integers.